contracted that house for? 50? You knew that because you did the loan on this. But anyway, all right, so $55,000. Hey, welcome y'all. Mark Zimmerman with Renter's Warehouse. I appreciate y'all coming tonight. I'm glad you like the food and the booze and the fun. I think we've got a really good group out here. The first thing I wanted to ask was, who was here last month? Okay, great. So y'all remember the story that we talked about that guy back in 2002? Y'all remember that story last month? And about that house? Well, what I want to do is, I want to talk about that. Let's give a little refresher on that situation. If you remember last month, we were talking about, is it better to hold or is it better to flip, right? And that was the first house I'd ever bought, and I ended up flipping it in 3 weeks and making 25 grand on it. We thought that was a great idea, but then I went back and looked, for those of you who were here, and we saw that it sold last December for $314,000, and it was a $160,000 after repaired value when I bought it in 2002, so maybe holding it would have been a better plan. So I'm just trying to catch you up a little bit because I want to go a little bit further into this. Who's ever heard the phrase, stay out of somebody else's pocket? Does that seem familiar to folks? Sometimes it's hard to do. I always call this one of my probably top 20 new investor tips, because people tend to get in your pockets, especially if you're new, right? You kind of start worrying about what everybody else is making. I want to use the same story to kind of illustrate that whole concept. So let's talk about that same house. So this is the first house I ever bought when I first bought my We Bugly Houses franchise back in 2002. That's how I met Eddie, and that's how I met Rich and Jim and Clyde and a whole bunch of other folks. But that's the first house I ever bought. We talked about it last month. But what I want to go into that was, let's give you a little bit of kind of a refresher on it. Built in '79, 4-bedroom, it was an humble, 2-story brick on a slab, really good house to fix up and flip. And that was what the ARV was. Everybody remember what ARV is? Yeah, after repaired value, a key number that you need to know when you're analyzing whether or not you should take down a property, right? So at that time, $160,000 ARV, right? Now remember that last December it sold for $314, so there is appreciation involved. But back then it was a $160,000 ARV, and it needed about $20,000 in repairs, and I bought it for $88,000. Last month we talked about this in great detail. I won't go back into it, but it was a pretty good buy. I think we figured out that it was like 68% of after repaired to loan value, right? So good deal. Interesting enough, I didn't talk about it last month because I wanted to talk about staying out of other people's pockets and use myself as a funny example. I bought this from another We Bugly Houses franchise, and it wasn't Eddie, and I'm not going to say who it was, but I bought this house from another We Bugly Houses franchise. In fact, I bought it the last day that I was in training up at the We Bugly Houses franchisor. So I hadn't even gone out in the streets, and this is my first opportunity. So, does anybody know what the term double close is and why you might want to double close? What is the main reason why somebody might sell your house and say, well, I want to double close? Exactly, right. To not let the person that you're selling it know how much you bought it for, right, or contracted it for. Because when you double close, they're not going to see what you contracted it for. If you assign the property, that assignment fee will be on your closing statement. You'll know what they made, right? I didn't know this back then, so we happened to do a double close. Well, the day after we closed, the title company, and it wasn't Nicole back there. I was closing with somebody else up in the Woodlands, but the day after we closed, the title company sent me the wrong closing statement. How cool is that? I actually got the closing statement for the We Bugly Houses franchise that sold me the house for $88,000. That was a little bit of an oops. So, guess how much the We Bugly Houses franchise that sold me that house for $88,000, guess what they had contracted that house for? 35, close, but yes, you're in the right ballpark. 50? You knew that because you did the loan on this. But anyway, all right, so $55,000. $55,000. Now, what do you think my reaction was? I can promise you that it was worse than that little kid right there, that meme that we've all seen. I was like, They made $33,000 on me, and remember, they didn't even close. What I want to point out about this is really what should my reaction should have been, right? Yeah, they made $33,000, but what? I was happy with the deal until I found out what they actually had contracted it for. I was absolutely really happy. I actually sold it as is in 3 weeks, and you guys saw the check for $25,720 net in my pocket. So I did okay. I didn't make $33,000, but I did make $25 in 3 weeks, so that's not a bad deal. So I did all right. So I think the moral of the story is, if you're not happy with the deal, then just don't do the deal. But if you're happy with the deal, then just kind of stay out of other people's pockets. And I found this online. That guy is actually either pickpocketing the wallet or the gun out of that police officer's back pocket. But anyway, so we don't want to do that. We want to stay out of other people's pockets. So I wanted to share that story because I think it's just an important little tip when you're especially new in this business and people say, well, I'll assign you this house for a $10,000 assignment fee, and you freak out. As long as the numbers work for you, you should be happy with it, because guess what? There's going to be a time, and I've done it, where you're going to make a lot of money selling a house as is or at an assignment basis, and you're going to want them to be happy with you making it too. So anyway, tying this into Renter's Warehouse, how can we help, right? When you get a really good deal, or you get an okay deal, or you get a great deal, we want to help you. Now, what can we do? For those that don't know about Renter's Warehouse, we help you find a property. I have 5 real estate agents in different parts of the city, and they're really good about finding investment property. We can help you find that great tenant. They all do leasing too, so I think we're at about 23 days right now, days on market, and it's going down because supply is actually tightening up and rentals are getting more and more scarce. We can manage your rental property, right? As the property manager, we collect the rent, we send the money. That's what we do in a nutshell. We'd love to help you guys out. So all I can say is let's do this. Let's stay out of other people's pockets, and let's make $33,000 or $25,000 or $10,000, whatever it is.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe below.